Ryan Matta, documentary filmmaker and independent investigative journalist. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Kim. I told you this before we started, but you're always my favorite show to come on and do these interviews with. So thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. Okay, let's break down what we know and what we don't know about the Charlie Kirk shooting at this point. There's still a lot of stuff that's not adding up. There's a lot of people that feel like everything adds up, and it's just this Tyler Robinson kid. He's guilty. String him up and kill him. I mean, that's kind of. It seems to be there's two camps on this. Those that seem, yes, it was this kid. He did it. Execute him publicly. And then you've got the other group saying, wait a minute, I don't feel like we have all of the information and things aren't really adding up. And it feels like we've been fed a lot of bullshit. So let's start with some of the stuff. What do we know? What do we not know? Let's start with the shooter on the roof and the video of what we have on the roof. You've broken this down quite a bit. You've done a lot of work on this. You've been really great you're really on this. So you're a wealth of information. What do we know and what do we not know about the videos when it comes to the shooter on the roof? I'll tell
Thank
you
you
what
very much.
my suspicion, but I want to get you started on it.
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And, my account over the last 21 days has accumulated over 201 million impressions on X. So I would say that I'm probably one of the number
Wow.
one accounts on X reporting on the Charlie Kirk investigation more than any of the mainstream media. And I don't know if it's
Yeah.
always been this obvious as far as when the FBI is telling us lies and their stories just don't add up, or if it's just this time because everybody in the crowd had an iPhone 16 Pro Max and was filming at 60 frames or 30 frames per second, that we got a lot of camera angles and a lot to go with. So the first kind of video that popped up was this kid. He was walking up and he was walking kind of towards where Charlie Kirk was speaking. And he goes, "Hey man, is that a guy on the roof?" That was the first video that got posted. I think we actually saw somebody on the roof. And then from there, you get these people that were filming inside the cafeteria pretty much at the moment or right after Charlie Kirk got shot. And as they're filming, it had to have been like pretty much the exact second that he got shot, because a few minutes later, they're kind of panning the video. And when they're panning across the outside through the cafeteria window, you can see this man clearly running across the roof. Okay. So at that point, you're realizing that if you scrub that video back and forth, and I'll send one to your editor so he can probably lay it over the screen here, but you see the crowd, when you're scrubbing back and forth, the crowd's going up and down, up and down. That means the crowd had just realized that Charlie Kirk had been shot and there's this man running on the roof. So then our investigators, and this was because Blake Bednards was the actual journalist who actually figured this all out. He goes, "Let's go to the outside camera." So we go to the outside camera, and if you watch it, and I want anybody that has this video just to pause it right at the second that Kirk gets shot. And I'll leave a video down in the comments when Kim posts this one so you guys can go to that exact same video. If you pause it at the 8 seconds mark and then you press play, as soon as you press the play button, you're going to hear bang. That's going to be the second that Charlie got shot. And then I want you to stop it exactly when you see the crowd get all the way crouched down, which is about 3 seconds, 4 seconds if you're being generous, okay? So if we go back to the inside video, we can see that man is in a full sprint running across the roof as the crowd is realizing that Charlie Kirk's been hit. So that means whoever took that shot had taken that shot and then grabbed his rifle and then jumped up and was in a full-on sprint across that roof within 3-4 seconds if you're being generous, okay? And then at that exact same time, like the next video we get of the man on the roof is from the FBI. Now you guys can fact check this. You go right over to the FBI's official YouTube channel and you guys can pull this video directly from the FBI's YouTube channel. And it shows this man sprinting across the roof. And it starts at 12:23.34. And then it takes him another 14 to 16 seconds to get to the edge of the roof. And within 20 seconds of that video starting, he's pretty much dropping off the side of the roof. Now, if the FBI would have just given us 3 more seconds of that video or 4 more seconds, it would have shown that kid in the prone position. If he was allegedly in that prone position and took that shot, that would be
Right.
The FBI had that video. So then I paid a journalist to go back to the scene because I wanted to know exactly what camera the FBI gave us that video from. So there had to have been a camera across the street in a parking lot on a building. So a kid went back to the parking lot, went over there and found that there was another building across the street and it didn't only have one camera, it had 2 cameras. So those 2 cameras would have had a perfect crystal clear view of this man on the roof in the prone position at the exact same time that shot was fired. But for some reason, the FBI releases us a video 3 seconds after the shot was fired. Why not show the man in the prone position if you're so confident that he took the shot? So that's where all of the conspiracy theories, I guess, start, was because
Right.
kind of what the FBI told us. We had the media telling us that he was on the roof and he changed his outfit on the roof and then he disassembled the gun. He didn't disassemble the gun. He put the gun down his pants. Then we looked at the gun and the scope was jammed up. And they said, oh, that was jammed because when he put it down his pants and jumped off the roof, it jammed the scope up to the front of the gun. So we can kind of start there, I guess.
Yeah. One thing I found really strange about that FBI released video, the one that we all know of him running across the roof and then jumping off the roof, right? And there's the big debate around that video was, does he have a rifle or not? Is the object he's holding, he's clearly holding something, but is it floppy, flimsy, like a towel, or is it actually, long and like, like a rifle, right? But the strange thing about that video, like you point out, that they clearly had a crystal clear view shot of where he would have been in prone position taking the shot, right? Setting up. They would have had video of him setting up. They would have had video of him aiming. I mean, all of this would have been changing potentially. I mean, all of that would have been on that camera. But the other thing I found really odd about it was that if you watch the other people that are in the video, you know how when he's jumping down, there's people walking on the side of that video. Why are they walking? I mean, somebody's just been shot. So you would think that they're running for their lives. I mean, shooter on campus. You're not just like moseying along, but in the video, he's jumping off the roof and he's just but there's just people walking off to the side like it's any other time and any other day, which made me wonder, is this a doctored video? I mean, clearly there's it's suspicious that we don't have the beginning of this video. If this is the guy, like we said, changing, taking the position, taking the shot. And then it's also suspicious that the other people in the video that are in the background are just kind of walking along like they're just heading to class like it's nothing. Somebody was just shot and they were right there. They would be running. And you would think that you would actually start to see kind of a crowd of people running at that time as well. So that video is really suspicious. That video is highly suspicious. And these days with tech, you kind of wonder in a courtroom when they stick this kid on trial, is there going to be some sort of like digital forensic expert who's going to be able to tell whether or not this stuff is AI or fake or, or they just got to present evidence? I mean, that's the one thing that's really scary about AI. And then you think about who's defending you. Lawyers. They're not scientists. They went to law school. Most of them got political science degrees and then they went off to law school. I mean, what do they know about digital, manipulation or AI or being able to spot evidence that isn't real? I mean, that's where it's going to get really frightening that they're able to just potentially pin anything on any of us digitally. And who's going to defend that? Who's going to find out that it's fake? That was just a thought that goes through my mind.
No, I think you made a lot of really good points there. So I want to kind of just start with what we do know. So Steven Gardner, he's a fellow YouTuber. You probably know Steven. He's got 1.5 million on YouTube. He's been pretty laser focused. He's from Utah and he's actually close to the university. So he also went back and did a kind of on the grounds recon of that exact area. And the one thing he will say that he pointed out was there's a part of that video where people say it's AI because people are walking and then all of a sudden they kind of just disappear way off on the right side. He said right behind that tree is actually like the campus is all in these weird levels. He's like, so there is a part, he goes, I couldn't tell exactly if that angle kind of matched. He goes, but there is an area where they could have just walked behind there and then you actually kind of go down and you drop down. So maybe those people disappearing was weird. And then I talked to a couple other people about how you just said there's people walking through the parking lot there. He goes, and somebody had just been shot. Now you also have to think that from where that kid was walking through that parking lot to where Tyler Robinson would have been on that roof when he took the shot is probably only 20 yards, maybe 30 yards at best. So you're really close to that sound. The best excuse I heard was how many kids at campus have their ear pods in and they're just going about their day and they got loud music playing in their ears and they're just walking. So maybe that kid walking through the parking lot had some ear pods in and, maybe didn't hear that. But I'm also thinking, is that possible with a 30-06? Because that sounded really loud to all of us who were listening to that shot get fired. I don't know how you could have been in that parking lot, say 25 yards away from where the shot was fired. And even with headphones on, not hear that or not hear the screams or not hear the panic of people. So I definitely think that video was doctored. Now we can also go back to the facts of the charging document. So this was the affidavit, I believe, that they put together for the warrant. They were saying that Tyler Robinson, there was a stairwell right next to that. So how did Tyler get on the roof? Everybody was asking that. Did he come with a ladder? No, it wasn't a ladder because the architecture design of that campus, how it's all layered in layers, they have what are called these walkways. So one walkway connects to the next building and then you kind of go down the steps. But if you just step right over the railing of that walkway, you can get right onto the roof. So Steven went to the campus, walked up those stairs, and within 30 seconds was on that roof and walked over to the position where Tyler took the shot at. And he put all this on his YouTube channel. Now, the charging document says that Tyler got on that roof at 12:15. He basically stayed crouched down in this position. We don't really know what he was doing in that position. They haven't really told us. but then he sprints over to the edge of the roof, which is kind of confirmed by the reporting that Candace did. So the very first video, what I talked about, where the guys were walking up and they're like, hey, man, that guy just ran over and then he crouched down and now he's in this position. Could he be in the roof? Could he be in that position already? So what they were talking about is that video, according to the timestamp metadata that Candace Owens put on her show, was recorded at 12:22. Charlie Kirk was shot at 12:23, and those kids claim that they stopped recording roughly 20 seconds before that shot was fired. So within 1 minute, I don't know how long he was on the roof for, maybe that would be like 7 or 8 minutes, Tyler's standing on the roof. And then at the 1 minute mark, he basically runs over, sprints into position, lays down, gets into position, and somehow pulls this trigger. Somehow he gets Charlie Kirk in his sights. He's all lined up. He controls his breathing all within 1 minute. I mean, this guy has to be a pro to carry out this type of operation at this level. From what, expert snipers tell me, like when you're in those positions, they call it like in the zone or something where your heart's beating. You got to control your heart rate. And then the cross on the gun, if it's even off by a centimeter, you miss your target. And it seems like, he hit him almost center mass. It might have been a little up or down off, but you got a bullet dropping. I think that shot in the neck was a pretty dang good shot. And this kid was able to control his breathing, get in that position and take that shot within 1 minute. And then in 3 seconds is up with that rifle in hand in a full on sprint. If that was him.
Right. Okay. So walk us through this again, just so I understand. So somebody in the crowd, I didn't see this video. Someone in the crowd goes and says there's somebody on the roof.
Yeah. He was walking up to the low-C building. So this was somebody must have been going to school. According to Candace.
Oh, I saw that video. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're walking up to the event, not up to Charlie.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I misheard you.
Yep.
I thought you were saying that right before he was shot, they kind of were alerting the team like, hey, but no, this is a video that I've seen this video where they're walking to the event and they say, hey, is that somebody on the roof? And what time was that video?
That was filmed at 12:22.
That video was?
Yes, and Charlie was shot at 12:23.
So they were just walking. They weren't going to the event. Otherwise, they would have already been there. They were like heading in that direction or something.
Yeah,
I mean, the event
going to the event, could have been going to school. Yeah,
Sure,
I don't know how long
but they
the
were
event
just
was going
walking
for.
in that. They were walking in that direction, and I wonder why they were even filming. I mean, I don't film myself walking.
No, he was started. They didn't have him running, so the kid ran and then got into position, and that's why they pulled out their phone. They didn't have him actually running. So they seen this shadow, this figure running across the roof, and he gets into that position. And that's when he pulled his phone out and was like, dude, this guy just ran from across the roof and he's laying there. I probably would have filmed that too.
Okay. So he's like, something suspicious is going on. There's a guy on the roof. And he films him. And you're saying that at 12:22, which is 1 minute before Charlie was shot, he saw the kid running or the person running and get into prone position. So essentially, right before Charlie was shot, this person was in that position. This wasn't
this person, yes.
Right.
And that person said that this is also important. So when Candace got a hold of them, and Candace said that she was able to track this person down within 2 hours of just trying to figure out who this man was online. And when she got into communication with them, this man, she didn't give us too much details, but she said like he really knows when it comes to guns and weapons. She goes, I don't want to give out too much information to where people can figure out who this source is. But let's just say he knows his stuff when it comes to guns. And now this man says that the person on the roof was wearing full tactical gear and they were wearing a mask. And he said, judging by the sound of that shot and the weapon that he believes that was used, he doesn't believe that it was a 30-06. He believes that it was a 223, most likely 223 round with blackout, judging by how Charlie was shot and the fact that the bullet didn't go through the back of his neck. And then that is also confirmed by a leaked police 911 call. Some other girl called in a 911 report and stated that she's seen the assailant and that he was also wearing tactical gear and a face mask. So we have two eyewitnesses that claim that this man that was on the roof was allegedly wearing tactical gear and a face mask. And then some other source, a girl, I believe, reported that he was with another suspect. They seen him changing his clothes and then he was with a female suspect. So I don't know how those are just what we've kind of heard and been able to piece together. I don't know who that third source is or who that girl is that saw and reported that.
Right. So then what would be the theory? If this person's in full tactical gear and they're in prone position in that spot, is that the spot where this video is filmed, where this person walking toward the event, is that spot where they're claiming Tyler Robinson took the shot? Or is that a different spot?
That is where the FBI is claiming that Tyler Robinson took that shot, correct. They did the forensic analysis and they've told us that they found a palm print, I believe. They found some DNA. They found the rifle, which according to Candace is Tyler Robinson's rifle. But Candace is also claiming that she believes that Tyler Robinson has never been to that campus or never been
Yeah.
set foot on campus that day, but was around the area. It is his weapon. And then she also confirmed that she believes that Tyler Robinson is gay and that what's his name? The Lance is his actual boyfriend. But according
Uh-huh.
to some information that she was getting from Candace's, from somebody that it's communicated, a source that's communicating with Tyler's parents never knew that Tyler was gay. And they were actually excited because Tyler was talking about this girl that he had in his life. And he was really excited to introduce his new girlfriend to his parents. And Candace now thinks that that girlfriend most likely is Lance. And they were kind of just
Yeah.
keeping that from his parents. She also says that his parents never turned him in as well.
Okay. Okay. So if this person, so the eyewitness that she was able to track down, who is really knowledgeable in guns, which makes sense. I mean, it's Utah. Yeah, I'm from Idaho, Utah. Everybody's got a gun. It's like we're all shooting guns by the time we're coming out of the womb. For safety. Well, for safety and for, there's bears, there's bobcat, there's or whatever. There's there's mountain lion, there's like all kinds of wildlife out there, you know what I mean, that you have to
Yeah.
protect yourself from. So, basically, so if that's how does that line up? Like when he says, okay, it's not this particular gun, it sounded like something else. Um, could that be the person still on the roof that in tactical gear taking that shot? Could it have been that person with a different weapon? Is that what the theory would be? Or is it from a entirely different location?
Kim, I believe it was Redacted had a retired CIA agent on his show yesterday. And this guy went into great lengths to detail about how, when any type of incident like this happens, it's basically FBI protocol to shut down that entire scene. They rope off the scene and they actually would bring out a dummy. They would bring out a dummy that's the
Mhm.
exact same height as Charlie Kirk. They would set him in that chair. They would go get on the roof where they believe that the assailant took the shot from. They would set up lasers and they would do this whole forensic analysis. They reconstruct the crime scene. And he said, this is part of protocol. Anytime an event like this happens, it's basically mandatory that they do that. Not only did they not do that, Kim, they went and destroyed the entire crime scene. I mean, what was it? 48 hours later, they were literally paving
Yeah,
over the entire crime scene. So there's a
right.
lot of moving parts. We can speculate, was that the position on the roof? I'm not 100% positive. I think at this point, the best thing that we can be doing as a collective is going, hey, FBI, if you claim to be the most transparent administration in the history of America, and you claim that Israel is our greatest ally, well, I'd go to say that probably 75% of the internet, maybe if not more, 75% of Americans believe that this wasn't Tyler, that there's more to this story and all roads are pointed to Israel. So if Israel's our greatest ally and you really want to defend Israel, well, then you need to do what's in Israel's best interest and come and release those CCTV footage and show and prove everything you're claiming. We don't have one definitive photo, not one video. We had better surveillance footage from the 1998 Columbine shooting. It was more clear what the person in Columbine in 1998 looked like. And that video was released 2 days after the shooting. The
Yeah.
Valdi shooting, the photos leaked 2 hours after. The trans shooter, the last trans shooter, I believe it was within 10 days we had the videos. We're now going on 20 days. So it's not like it's abnormal for the FBI to release this type of information just to kind of prove what they've been saying. I mean, this is a big case. It's probably the biggest case in our generation that we've seen. And I think it's more important than ever that the FBI does be transparent and they do provide some more information. And people go, well, you might dirty or muddy the waters of the investigation. If this was really Tyler Robinson, he shot Charlie Kirk. It was on film on 20 different angles. If this was really the guy, I don't think there's no way you're going to jeopardize this case in any way, shape, or
Right.
form. More so than you already have. I mean, Cash botched it the first 2 times. 2 hours after Charlie Kirk got shot, Cash Patel was whining and dining at an upscale restaurant in New York, ordering surf and turf lobster 2 hours after Charlie Kirk took a bullet in the neck. 12 hours after the investigation started, the FBI director still had not received an image or a photo of what the assailant looked like. So how is it possible that our FBI director, 12 hours after probably the most famous political speaker in the history of America was shot in the neck, the man that you claim to be your friend, the man that you claimed helped you get, I mean, he was fundraising for the Fight with Cash campaign. Cash's own fundraiser, Charlie Kirk was promoting. He was bringing him on his show. I would go as far as saying Cash might not even got nominated and got the director position if it wasn't for the work that Charlie Kirk did. And this man gets shot in the neck. 2 hours later, you're out at an upscale restaurant in New York City eating some steak and lobster or whatever you were ordering. And then 12 hours later, you mean to tell me you haven't seen a photo of what this man
Yeah.
looks like and you're on a campus with 1,000 CCTV cameras? Come on, something's not adding up here.
Yeah. Well, especially since they hadn't at that point when he's dining on surf and turf, they hadn't even caught they claimed they'd caught one guy, and then they claimed they caught another guy, and they hadn't, and then the third guy. And that's the other thing about this is, they look like such fools already with the first two arrests that, of course, once they got the third arrest, it's almost, because that was somebody asked me that question, why would they lie? Why would they just try to pin it? Well, like, why would the FBI, why would law enforcement try to pin it on Tyler Robinson? And my answer to that is, just look at all of the death row cases in America. There's been, like Illinois, for example, they have a student. One of the law schools has like a investigative unit inside of it where they look at all the death row cases and they try to actually see if they're guilty or innocent. They look through the evidence. These people have been convicted. They're sitting on death row. And in the state of Illinois, this investigative team was able to actually exonerate half of the people sitting on death row. Half. And so the governor of Illinois was forced to put a stay on all executions because half were innocent, and they were definitively proven innocent. And that, why would that be? And these are no names. These are not Charlie Kirk killers, right? These are no names that murdered whoever in Illinois, and yet they're sitting on death row because there's an enormous amount of pressure on law enforcement to capture the killer. Good job, attaboy, pat on the back, and now hand it over to the prosecutors and they'll do their job. And they just stop there. They just say, okay, we got the guy, and here's all the evidence we have that makes us think it, and then we hand it over to the prosecutors, and then they can blame the prosecutors if the prosecutors don't get a guilty conviction. And there's a lot of pressure on the prosecutors to get a guilty conviction, even if the prosecutors themselves are sitting there questioning, I don't know if this guy's actually the guy that did this and is guilty. So even without it being a high profile case, we have even without it being high profile, we have a lot of people sitting guilty in prisons without them being guilty at all.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it makes sense to pin it on Tyler. He's the third guy they finally got. What else? Are you going to say you made a mistake again? Thank you for watching this clip from the full Kim Iverson show, which you can catch Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern at KimIversonShow.com. It is free for you to watch. Again, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, KimIversonShow.com. See you there.